today also the teacher feels that it is only passing of the information to the student which is knowledge. The new knowledge is not information. New knowledge is innovation.
Let the girls go out and see how the real world is, not stay closeted in their classrooms. So the idea when we talk about female literacy is that in institutions we have to keep improvising. The NEP is really going to help in this way.
Stress is nothing, there are many definitions, but one definition what I feel is too much to do but too little time and too little energy. And that's what we are struggling with, right?
Being an actor, मेरे हिसाब से जो एक वजह बनती है यूथ के साथ ना जुड़ने की, वो वजह ये भी है कि उसने उस थिएटर को प्रैक्टिस ही नहीं करा.
This humanities and science, because आजकल तो बड़ा clear division क्या ये साइंस स्टूडेंट है. ह्यूमैनिटीज़ वाले के तो मेरा बेटा बड़ा था जब उसने नॉन मेडिकल छोड़ा, वो आर्ट्स लिया, तो मेरे घर तो अफसोस करने आ गए लोग कि ओ जी बहुत बड़ा, कोई गल नहीं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, ठीक हो जाएगा.
Education which educates only the person who is getting the degree is of no use unless and until it impacts the community around you, reaches out to the world around you, makes the world a better place to live in. Until then, that education is meaningless.
Stress is today giving competition to God. Both are omnipresent.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to another edition of ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. I have an esteemed panel with me. I'm shooting this episode in Amritsar at the Guru Nanak Dev University. They've been very kind to have us here, and FICCI is our host also. They are the ones who've organized this panel. We have a very distinguished panel of 4 guests, which include Professor Sarabjot Behl, Dean Academic Affairs at Guru Nanak Dev University, Dr. Pushpinder Walia, Principal BBK DAV College for Women, Punjabi Author Dr. Arvinder Kaur, and Paulomi Mukherjee, Senior Faculty at the Art of Living. I'm very grateful to all these achievers who have been, who've given me their time and who are going to give us information about the lives that they lead and what they're doing to transform society. I'm going to begin with Dr. Sarabjot Behl. The introduction has already been made, sir. So as Dean of Academic Affairs of one of the most reputed universities in India, I'd like to ask you about the challenges and the strengths of being an educator in Punjab.
Thank you, Smita, for choosing me over the ladies. And you see, I think when it comes to the challenge of educating the youth of Punjab, I would approach this problem from 2 angles. One is the nursery where these people are being nurtured, that is our institutions, universities, colleges, schools. And after getting that education, when they are going out to the world, prepared to take up their responsibility as the men and women of the world. So being an educator, I'll take the first part before I take the second part, because ecosystem is something which I don't handle directly. It is being handled by politicians, government, private sector, public sector. So primarily as an educator, I think the first challenge, and I'll go to the grassroots, because all other things which we talk about, that our education is not creating employable people, we know about it, we've talked about it a lot, but I think we should start with the definition of education. We have forgotten what education is, the kind of education that we are imparting in our schools and colleges these days. If you see our traditional knowledge systems, the way education was imparted, it was a way of life. It was not cramming from the books, appearing for the exams, clearing it, then sitting in another competitive exam, getting into an IIT or a university through entrance tests, finishing your degrees, and then going out to the world. I think education primarily was a process of not only learning, it was also unlearning and de-learning continuously and then learning again. And that is the part which we've forgotten in our system today. If you see school education, you very well know as parents of your children who are going to the schools, the way they are taught. The debate and the critique part, even in schools and higher education institutions, is all completely missing. It is only that we spoon feed our children We give them books, we give them notes. And in today's world, there was a time when information was considered knowledge. But I think that problem has already been taken care of 20 years ago by Google and by all other means of informatics revolution. Now you don't think twice to tap on Google and get any kind of information from wherever, whatever corner of the world. But we are still stuck up at that point. Today also the teacher feels that it is only passing of the information to the student which is knowledge. The new knowledge is not information, let me inform you, and we are all aware of that. New knowledge is innovation. New knowledge is being creative with whatever existing education, acquired education you have taken. It is going beyond that, and it is going to change again at a very vertiginous speed. See, especially in Punjab, since you mentioned, Punjab has a typical problem of its own. I'll come to the regional problem now. As in human civilization, you see the first revolution that happened was much before industrial revolution, was the agricultural revolution, 12,000 years ago. Then came industrial revolution, somewhere around 16th, 17th century, Renaissance happened, then happened scientific revolution. Then we came with IT revolution recently. And the next revolution is again on our threshold and doorstep, which I'll come to later. But unfortunately, Punjab, on that same pattern, we had our share of agricultural revolution, which was very, very successful. We became food bowl of the whole nation, and the ball stopped there. We stagnated after that. The industrial revolution did not touch Punjab. Nothing happened in Punjab. So much so, whatever industry we had, so to speak of, in Amritsar, which was textile and processing, and in Ludhiana, it was pushed out. It went to Haryana, it went to Baddi, it went to all other places where governments were proactive in encouraging industry, which unfortunately did not happen in Punjab, when there was a huge scope for agri-industry and IT industry also, I would say. We missed the IT bus, we missed the industrial revolution bus, we missed the IT bus, and we are now on brink of missing the next bus, which is AI bus. Artificial intelligence is really taking over the world. It has started. You have started hearing about ChatGPT for the last 6 months, and it is going to take over, change the whole world within 10 years. You will see that, and we are on the verge of missing out on that bus. We have been talking in the sessions about our children going to Canada. It is for that reason, because we never went beyond agricultural revolution. And agricultural revolution may have created a lot of money for Punjab, but the other side of agricultural revolution was that the land got divided, it got mechanized, people got free, and they had no newer opportunities. The education didn't support them, preparing them for that opportunity. Ecosystem was not there to take them into the fold of those new opportunities, and that is where Punjabi student or new Punjabi graduate or youth stands. So we have failed as educators, as government, as politicians, the youth of Punjab. So I think in a nutshell, that is the reason. It is not that the youth wants to go to Canada, because in absence of the employment opportunities or in any other way of productive or enterprise in Punjab, they are forced to go out of this state. So that is the Punjab scenario. So coming to again education, I think we need to now know that information is no knowledge. Even now, to the extent that the basic jobs that Punjabi youths were doing in Canada or wherever they were going, they are also going to be taken away from you, because all those basic jobs of doing, if you become a lawyer, you want to write a rent deed, you won't be doing it. ChatGPT would be doing it. I come from architecture. If I have to, I prepare, nakshas for the clients. Down here to the lines, couple of years from here, I will not be doing it. ChatGPT would be doing it. AI would be doing it. All the basic jobs, we have never progressed to the next higher level of jobs. The basic jobs for which Punjabi youth is still prepared for are going to be taken away from you. You will have no jobs in the market because all that basic stuff. Now, if ChatGPT is writing poetry for you and a novel for you, and yes, which requires a creative input. See, so far still in NLP, which is the natural language processes, which has given rise to ChatGPT and AI, where only the syntax of language has been taken care of. The next stage is the semantics of language is also going to be, AI is going to handle that. So once that happens, once AI comes into those areas also, you have to be creative. And now that's the bus which I think, if we have already missed the buses, I think you should always look for the new bus that is coming to you. At least we can start preparing our children for the next bus. And we should acknowledge it, we should realize it, we should move in that direction in Punjab and in India also.
Right.
Because all that coding thing that we do, all that software power that Indian students have is going to go in the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
The basic thing is going to be taken over by AI.
Yes. So those who are sitting in this, what should I say, in this false complacency that their children have gone abroad and they're sitting here today and they have jobs there, even if you have your PRs, or if your children sitting in foreign countries, or if you are aspiring to go abroad, just remember your degrees are already late. Your degrees are already invalid to a lot of, to a large extent, because as Professor Saab said, that AI is taking over, even if, in fact, sir, in our line also, now there's an anchor who reads the weather bulletin who's artificial, and she's taken over one of our jobs of a weather reporter. So I'm going to come to you, one more question before I go to other panelists, is about the national educational policy. It's a hot potato item. Politicians have various views about it. But if I was to keep the politics out of it, just as an academician, what is your view on this?
See, it's a very progressive step, national education policy. Practically, I would say we have done nothing but follow the North American and European system of education model now. Again, very late in the day, but it is a good thing that we are doing it. It again, you know, it gives a lot of flexibility in terms of choice of subjects to the student, in terms of the flexibility of exploring as much as student wants to, in terms of that, you know, initially we only had in all the colleges, universities and schools, university में तो फिर भी आपका disciplines जो हैं वो varied हो जाते हैं, but you had a medical stream, you had a non-medical stream, you had a commerce stream, and you had an art stream. That is where you would, I mean, you were made to fit in. वो 4 frame बने हुए हैं, वहाँ पे बच्चे को ठोक दिया जाता था कि आप इसमें fit होते हैं, आप इसमें fit होते हैं. But not anymore in this new education policy, because the student is being offered all kinds. It was there earlier also, but it has been re-emphasized that a student can study philosophy with mathematics and physics with music. So you can do that, and so that flexibility is there. Then there's this multiple exit entry system, which was being already practiced abroad, that after first year, if you feel that you have learned enough, or you want to change to a different, because you see, we expect our children who are 17, 18 or 19 years old, normally it's the parents who impose upon them, bhi tumne doctor banna hai, engineer banna hai, tumne banker banna hai. And the child doesn't know. Child still has to explore. So I think this is the period of exploration which has been facilitated by new education policy. So if you've taken up a course and you feel that you have done 1 year and it is not something that you want to do, you want to shift, you take a certificate and go to a next course. After 2 years, you take this diploma. After 3 years, you get a normal graduate degree. After 4 years, you get a graduate degree with honors and research. And after that, you get master's in integrated program. And fortunately, our university is the first university in the region which has implemented this new national education policy. And just to give students, you know, I mean, we should not delay it any further because we are already late. So these are very important components which give flexibility. And also, apart from this flexibility, we are now emphasizing more, on paper at least it is there. As I said, that learning has to be experiential. If the learning is bookish, you, after attempting that question in the examination, you forget about it. How many of us retain whatever we studied in our books? And experiential learning, आपको भाई आप किसी गर्म चीज़ को हाथ लगाते हो तो उसके बाद नहीं लगाते, because you've experienced it. You've not read it in a book that you don't have to touch a hot plate. You have experienced it once or twice, and then you know. That experiential learning has been missing from our system. It has become completely bookish learning, but this new education policy emphasizes, lays stress on hands-on experience. And I think a child does not learn in a classroom. A child learns more in a laboratory, in a workshop, in an actual life condition. I've seen my families, children who are studying abroad, if they are studying maths, they are taken out to the market to buy tomatoes. They are given money. So they calculate there how many tomatoes, how many kilos, and how much money is to be given, how much is to be. This is called experiential learning, which has been completely gone, which had gone missing from our education system. National education policy lays emphasis on it. So I think these are good points.
Interesting, Professor. In fact, when you were talking about giving money to children to go and buy, many times I've seen that children who are not educated, are working, they're working maybe as a sabzi wala or whatever. He's never gone to school, a kid who's 13, 14 or something, but he can do a complex calculation in his mind simply because he's not been educated to do that math, but because of learning on the job of how to do that. I'm going to come to you, Professor Walia, but in a while, before it becomes very heavy. So let me go on to Dr. Arvinder Kaur. You're an author. You are also somebody who has moved from academics to writing books, doing theatre. All my interviews in Punjab have been about what can the youth do for creative pursuits, to move away from drugs, alcohol, and this frustration which is coming in because of lack of jobs despite education, which Professor Saab also talked about. Yesterday I had somebody that I spoke to that the theatre scene in Amritsar is very vibrant. But there's also this thing of not wanting to get out of the house to do something as a creative pursuit. Do you feel that that is lacking in our society, in our younger generation, of wanting to do those, of picking up a book and physically reading it, picking up or having interactions which is not through the cell phone, which is not through your device? क्या ये हो रहा है या फिर हम लोग सब एज पेरेंट्स बहुत ही ओवर एंजाइटी में होते हैं कि नहीं हमारे बच्चे पढ़ते नहीं हैं, ऐसे हो रहा है कि? जी
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक यू एंड FICCI Flo फॉर कॉलिंग अस हियर. और जो आपने बात करी है, इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल क्वेश्चन मैम, कि हम जो एजुकेशन से आते हैं तो हम स्कूल से शुरू करते हैं इस बात को कि क्या वजह होगी जो यूथ जो है वो जुड़ नहीं पाता, है ना, वो निकल नहीं पाता, वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के साथ दे आर इंडल्ज्ड कम्प्लीटली विद, और उसको हम बहुत सारे हिस्सों में डिवाइड भी कर लेते हैं. लाइक हम सोचते हैं कि शायद ये कोविड के कारण हुआ, है ना, या कोई और जो एकदम से एक्सप्लोसिव तरीके से जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मीडियम जो है वो उनके सामने हुआ, तो वो शायद उससे कोप अप नहीं कर पा रहे थे, इस वजह से हुआ. तो मैं बिल्कुल रूट लेवल से शुरू करना चाहूँगी कि हम स्कूल्स में म्यूज़िक पढ़ाते हैं, हम स्कूल्स में डांस पढ़ाते हैं, हम कॉलेजेस में भी ये करते हैं, लेकिन हम यूनिवर्सिटी में और कॉलेजेस में थिएटर नहीं पढ़ाते. तो जब मैं थिएटर की तरफ से आती हूँ, बीइंग एन एक्टर, बीइंग अ राइटर, प्ले राइट, और मैंने बहुत सारी ट्रांसलेशंस भी करी हैं, तो इतने सारे काम के बाद जो मैं देखती हूँ इस सब कुछ को, तो मेरे हिसाब से जो एक वजह बनती है यूथ के साथ ना जुड़ने की, वो वजह ये भी है कि उसने उस थिएटर को प्रैक्टिस ही नहीं करा, उसने वो जाना ही नहीं कि थिएटर के ज़रिए अपने आप को कैसे डेवलप किया जा सकता था, कैसे वो एक जो क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस था उसमें वो गया ही नहीं. तो जब आप गए ही नहीं तो आप टूटे तो जाहिर है कि आप कुछ और चीज़ों से जुड़ोगे जाके. जैसे मैंने देखा है पढ़ाते वक्त कि आप क्लास में पढ़ा रहे हो तो जो विद्यार्थी सामने बैठे हैं तो वो तकरीबन दे आर लाइक कि सुन रहे हैं, आपको लग रहा है कि बैठे हैं बस कि सुन रहे हैं, लेकिन आप कुछ भी क्वेश्चन कर लो तो उनके पास आंसर ही नहीं होता था. क्यों नहीं होता? क्योंकि वो सारी प्रैक्टिस में नहीं आया था। जैसे सर ने कहा कि हमारी प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमने वो सारे कुछ को अलग अलग बांट दिया है, मुझे ये लगता है। लाइक हमने ये तो कर दिया कि आप डांस करना है तो डांस की क्लास में चले जाओ, आपने म्यूज़िक करना है म्यूज़िक की क्लास में चले जाओ, और ऐसे अलग अलग।
जो जैसे थिएटर है, जैसे आपने कहा कि डांस सीख लिया या स्पोर्ट्स कर लिया,
हाँ,
मतलब एटलीस्ट जो मेरे को देखने में मिलता है कि सब कहते हैं कि अच्छा तुम स्पोर्ट्स कर रहे हो, टेनिस कर लो, वो स्पोर्ट्स कोटा में एडमिशन मिल जाएगी, और फिर एडमिशन मिलने के बाद बस वहाँ बंद हो गया। या तो आप या क्रिकेट कर लो, नहीं क्रिकेट में ना पॉलिटिक्स बहुत है, आप टीम में नहीं जाओगे। थिएटर का ऐसे होता है कि जो रिबेल करते हैं घर से भाग के, जिन्होंने थिएटर किया, जैसे आप अगर सुनोगे नसीरुद्दीन शाह, मनोज बाजपेयी वगैरह, घर में कुछ और कह के, पीयूष जी भी है, वो सब कहते घर में कुछ और बताते कि यूपीएससी पढ़ने गए हैं, उसके बाद दिल्ली में जाके थिएटर कर लिया। ऐसे बहुत से सक्सेस स्टोरीज हैं जो एंड देन द लेफ्ट आइडियोलॉजी कम्स इन, यू नो, कि रेवोल्यूशन के लिए थिएटर कर रहे हैं, टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड थिएटर कर रहे हैं। लेकिन मोस्ट पीपल वांट टू डू थिएटर एज अ रिलीज, and that's what I would think that parents should send it, because अगर you have children who don't have confidence, उनके लिए theatre से confidence आ सकता है। and most importantly the current problem that Punjab is facing of drugs, अगर you are doing something creative, अगर आप नशा कर रहे हो, उसके साथ क्रिएटिविटी हो सकती है?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकती जी। देखिए, लेकिन आपको शायद पता नहीं होगा, तो हमारा एक ग्रुप है, थिएटर ग्रुप है मेरे हस्बैंड का, तो हमने एक बार ना बैठ के वो सारा डेटा कलेक्ट किया था, तो वी केम टू नो कि जो हमारे यहाँ से गए बच्चे हैं उनमें से कोई भी ऐसा बच्चा नहीं था जो इसमें इंडल्ज हो गया हो ड्रग्स में। तो कहीं ना कहीं तो वो उसका वो सारा निकला ना, जो एग्रेशन है यूथ में या फ्रस्ट्रेशंस हैं, वो सबको कोई वे आउट कुछ तो निकले। तो मुझे तो ये लगता है कि थिएटर तो सबसे बढ़िया माध्यम है जिसमें से ये निकल सकता है। तो इसीलिए हम तो बहुत इनकरेज करते हैं। इवन यूनिवर्सिटी ने भी कुछ स्टेप्स लिए हैं, लेकिन वो अभी डिग्री में कन्वर्ट नहीं हुए हैं, वो डिपार्टमेंट नहीं बना सकी है यूनिवर्सिटी अभी तक। लेकिन ये है कि यहाँ पे थिएटर फेस्ट हो रहा है, और वो नुक्कड़ शैली के थिएटर जो है वो हो रहा है, वहाँ पे एक ग्राउंड के पास ही बना है ओपन एयर थिएटर सा। तो ये एक अच्छा स्टेप था कि जो अमृतसर में इतना सारा काम किया जा रहा था, तो उसका एक बदल जो है डिग्री के रूप में वो शुरू होना। I hope कि जल्दी हो जाएगा।
You, so I am going to come to you.
Yes.
So Professor Saab, you've seen what ma'am said, so now you have to create a department. But before that, I'll come to you, Dr. Pushpinder Walia. Women's literacy figures, why are they still low in Punjab? Are they low in Punjab? I mean, if you were to compare it to Kerala, yes. Yesterday I had interviewed another professor from the university who said that there are more women in class than she has ever seen before, and during her time the frustration occurs in not getting jobs. So there are many girls who come to study but they don't do higher studies. मतलब school level पे dropouts बहुत है in rural areas. By the time the urban girls come to college to study, the options for jobs are not there. Like I know of one person who's in FICCI Flo also. She studied biotechnology and she was from this university, but there are really no jobs, you know. So she found another creative pursuit and she found a vocation of her calling, her choice, her passion. But in what she studied, the years that she spent studying, she couldn't find a job in Punjab. You have to get out of Punjab for that, or get out of India for that matter. So tell me, where is Punjab stuck as far as higher education is concerned, and connecting them to the workplace?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Smita ji. This is a very interesting chain of conversation that has started. Taking the cue from Professor Behl, who talked about the need and the importance of vocational education, skills, you know, imparting skills to the students. The idea is, of course, to make them employable. They should be more relevant to the job market that is outside. Now, in our college, if I talk about BBK DAV College for Women, we've been there for more than 50 years. And we have addressed this problem by creating vocational courses. We have bachelor in vocation courses, around 10 to 12 of them, and one of them is bachelor in vocation in theatre and stagecraft. Talking about theatre, while Dr. Dhaliwal was talking, I was transported back to the fact that before even Punjab Natshala came up in Amritsar, BBK DAV College was the starting point for all the theatre enthusiasts. The stage of the college has produced many veterans, and even the director, Dr. Keval Dhaliwal, used to direct so many plays over there. The college had its in-house productions, having an open-air theatre, and even now the latest our products that you see on the screen. Bharti, the comedy queen, is from our college. She often talks about her struggles and her personal battles that she had to fight, and in that battle our college was always with her, egging her on. We have Suvidha Dugal, we have Tanya, we have other stars who are there. We have Arjuna awardees from our college in sports. So the idea when we talk about female literacy is that we have to, in our institutions, we have to keep improvising. We have to see the pulse of the youth. If it is more towards vocational courses, if it is more towards skills, then we have to incorporate those kind of programs in the curriculum. And also, the NEP is really going to help in this way. Second thing I want to talk about here while we are at it is that when the first DAV school was opened in Lahore way back before partition by Arya Samaj, it had a manifesto. Now when I read that manifesto, I would say that it is the most complete manifesto of education that any organization can have. There is one particular quote in it which I would like to reflect on, which says that education which educates only the person who is getting the degree is of no use, unless and until it impacts the community around you, reaches out to the world around you, makes the world a better place to live in. Until then, that education is meaningless. With that, we come to the very important goal of education, which is also one of the goals of University Grants Commission and of national development in general, which is community development. So in that, I think our impetus is very much on that. Our students, we give value-based education. The idea is not only to produce designers or architects or scientists or computer enthusiasts. The idea is to produce good human beings. Whichever direction they go in, wherever in the world they go in, they make a niche for themselves. To give the girls that grit and that persistence, which I saw in you when you were talking and you're talking about your journey. We want that same grit and same persistence in each one of our students. When she goes abroad, in whichever stream she goes in, whether she stays in India, whether she goes abroad. And coming to that, I would like to point out that most of our students, this trend is really not there in our college. I mean, going abroad, I mean, of course, there would be 10 to 20%. But most of the girls, see, even this is a contribution the girls can make if they are coming from, because we cater largely to a background where the girls are from financially well-off families, the prominent business houses. And if they understand that the business, even the family business, is not meant to be run just by the father and the brothers. They can also make a worthwhile contribution to it. So the girls are now having the grit and the courage and the expertise to go into that. Plus, they are also getting entrepreneurial skills, which we are really focusing on.
Dr. Walia, when I talk about students wanting to go abroad, at no point of time do I want to denigrate the pursuit of knowledge.
Yeah.
If students are going to increase their skills, to increase their knowledge base, to know more, to spread knowledge, that's a fabulous thing, and Indians have done this for centuries, I would say. They have been going abroad, because pehle hota tha decades bolte the, but now that we are in the new millennium, they've been going abroad to study for a long time, and that's a fabulous thing, and it is to be encouraged. At no point of time do I want to denigrate that. I also don't believe in this whole thing of brain drain all that much, which we used to hear in the 70s and 80s, that super skilled professionals who've been educated in India have gone abroad and we've lost out on them. We have learned from experience that we have also gained, because jahan bhi wo gaye, they created an ecosystem whereby our students can now go there and get jobs and things. What bothers me is when they go out of a sense of frustration, aithe kuch nahi rakha. You know, that sense of frustration of leaving behind their parents and their land because nothing is offered to them, that is what I was talking about. And I want to come to this point where you talked about कि हमारे यहाँ इतना नहीं होता, because girls don't go all that much. I guess in patriarchal homes, girls are not going. But I interviewed a professor from the university yesterday, and she really opened up my eyes about a new phenomenon which is happening in Punjab, which is that there are homes where people feel that their sons are not probably getting student visa kyunki nikhat hai. So what they're doing is hunting around for a girl who is getting good education, paying for her student visa and paying for her education, to her ticket to go abroad, and then she gets married to this boy, and then there is this reverse phenomenon, which I mean, when I started my career in journalism 30 years ago, at that time we were doing this NRI Bahu Wali stories, you know, that the atrocities that these girls from Punjab face when they go abroad, when they get married, आके यहाँ से लड़कियाँ उठा के ले जाते हैं वहाँ पे atrocities. That was a story that we covered as journalists. But there's a new phenomenon which is happening. Are you training your girls to watch out for those kind of scams?
Of course. Just recently we held in a seminar in collaboration with National Commission for Women. It was particularly on scams in NRI marriages, you know, and how to watch out for all the red flags. And in fact, one very good platform that the college provides is for all these initiatives, you know, community development at a very broad level. We send our girls to old age homes. One thing that was there in the first panel discussion I really liked was talking about things, going out in the field and seeing how life is. That is our purpose. Let the girls go out and see how the real world is, not stay closeted in their classrooms. So they have gone to old age homes. We have adopted 5 villages under the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So they go there and they conduct these workshops, and you know, pickle making and stitching and menstrual hygiene, these kind of workshops are there. Health awareness camps are there, and all these things they are doing. So it's like when the girls, they go out, they experience what real life and the challenges in real life are. They also started a program called Kora Kagaz, where, you know, whatever the waste pages that we have in the examinations, you know, the answer sheets, we use them and recycle them and make them into notebooks, and they go and distribute them to children from the slums, you know, from the underprivileged areas. What's important is that the girls, they develop a sense of compassion and understanding, and they count not only their blessings, but they also see how difficult life is for people around them.
So when they become business leaders, like we had Rajni Bakhtarji on the show earlier, and she was explaining, see, she has reached that level of financial and you know, what should I say, independence. She has achieved so much, she has been awarded so much. She has reached that level, but she realizes to give back to society is not just signing a check.
Yes.
It's to do something with your own hands, to care. So the girls that come out of your from your college, the men that come out from your college, and the women, when they become business leaders, when they go out into society, to give back, to just ask, what else can we do for you? If nothing else, begin small, from the people who work with you, your drivers, your chauffeurs, your cook.
Yes.
It can begin from there. Paulomi, I'm going to come to you. You work on alternative healing. In a way, you can explain that better. Tell me, how important is that in current day Punjab, the work that you do, the kind of stressful lives that mothers lead. We heard you know, a story of when the cardiologist said that the mother comes with a cardiac ailment because her son has a drug issue. Now this is something that women are not able to talk about. And you know, my generation of women used to think that women don't get cardiac arrest, men get cardiac arrest. But that changed. In my own lifetime, that changed. So tell me, how important is it to take time out and heal oneself?
You have said it, ma'am. It is absolutely, it is imperative. See, because of whatever reasons, it's not that the stress has come now. The stress was there before also, but
even your voice is healing me.
Yeah. So, but people knew the technology, it was ingrained in them and how to handle stress. You know, stress is nothing, you know, there are many definitions, but one definition what I feel is too much to do, but too little time and too little energy. And that's what we are struggling with, right? And because, to add on, wo tadka jo hai upar, socio and economic conditions have added to the wars. But you know, if you see, I'll give you the example of a small child, the most stress-free person you would ever see, right? A little child, right? When it is born, how? Today, if a little child comes into the stage, you will forget about the podcast. You will not look at Smita ma'am or anybody. You will only look at the child. Why? Because it is completely stress-free. It is completely happy in the moment, exuberant, full of love. That's how exactly we were. Until then we got intelligent and we got educated and we had whatever, the journey continues. So if you see, the seed of wisdom is inherent in every human being. एक बच्चा जब पैदा होता है उसको कोई ट्यूशन नहीं लेना पड़ता है कि जा बेटा दूध कहाँ मिलेगा, माँ का प्यार माँ कहाँ है. It will find its way because the wisdom is already there. And there are certain processes which our ancient rishis and munis, actually they were scientists. We have named them rishis and munis, but that time it was not an area, you know, age of WhatsApp and Netflix, so they were available to the universal wisdom. And just like we download everything from the net now, they used to download this wisdom. And they found out that there are certain ways by which the mind can be brought to the center, which is in the present moment. Otherwise, if you see, you know, there's been a survey which says that in 24 hours, you know, the mind is bombarded by, any guesses? How many thousand thoughts? It's about, any?
I don't even want to, because even as you're asking me, numbers are coming in, right? All of us are doing that.
Yeah, actually. So 60,000 thoughts bombard one human, poor little 1.5 kilo little brain. What else can it do but get pressure cookerized, you know? Yeah. So, and if you see, 98% of those thoughts are useless because it's either about the past which is gone, it's history, or it's about the future. So coming back to stress right now, you know, the founder of Art of Living, Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar ji, he smiles and he says, you know, stress is today giving competition to God. Both are omnipresent. Even a small child
but
talks
Paulomi,
about it.
All of us have stress. Who doesn't have stress?
Yes,
many people think moms who are in the house don't have stress.
Not at all.
Or a Guruji doesn't have stress. Yeah. But everybody has stress. Yes. Do you need a guru? Do you need a psychiatrist? Do you need a counselor to deal with stress? And at what point of time does one feel that I cannot control my stress anymore? What is that? Everybody has a different point, I guess. But what are the danger signals when you realize that अब मेरे बस की नहीं है कंट्रोल करना, मुझे किसी और की हेल्प लेनी होगी?
जाना है. Definitely, the first thing that gets affected during stress is your digestion. You will see that
everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I don't believe this, that any of us don't have digestion issues, so that all of us need it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So secondly, you will see we get sleep deprivation. Somebody in the early panel said, so sleep will get affected, right?
Again, everybody, I think.
Everybody. And then you will see that you go to do something, your mind is not there, you can't focus. And this is happening with our kids also, our college and school students also. Why? Because, those are the red flags, the alarm bells ring. But you know, nature, again, to our rescue. माँ प्रकृति इतनी बेनेवलेंट है, इतनी दयालु है कि उसने सब कुछ निहित कर दिया है. If you see, our breath is the key to a stressless. You can deal with, for example, tell me, when you're angry, have you ever noticed how is the speed of the breath? How does it go? जब गुस्सा आता है तो सांसें कैसे चलती है? तेज. Isn't it? कान गरम हो जाता है, हाथ पैर कांपते हैं, right? Right now we are all relaxed, listening to a wonderful, podcast with ma'am. Tell me, how is the breath? Just notice, it is very calm, rhythmic. At times of fear, when you are very fearful, you will notice your breath almost stops. Yeah, and in times of extreme sorrow and pain, you will see that the breath becomes automatically long and deep. So you see, for every emotion, there is a corresponding pattern in the breath. So the mind and the breath is related. Now, to control the mind, impossible. It's like a monkey. आप जितना कंट्रोल करोगे, जितना बोलोगे नहीं, वो उतना हावी होगा. That thought will come back, right? So we control the breath, and the source of all the skills, ma'am, whatever skills we learn, we may do everything. Where is the source of all those soft skills? It is right here in the mind. Yeah? And if you see, for our dental hygiene, we brush our teeth. For our physical hygiene, we take a bath and we use the washroom and clean ourselves. But every day we are collecting so much garbage. किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, some failure, some little slip, and that sticks to the memory, to the thought, and we keep chewing on it. So just attending to the mind, attending to the breath, not more, just 20 minutes a day. And that used to happen a few hundred years back, when our children used to go to the Gurukul and learn everything. It was very holistic. It was a value-based system where that system used to give us courage and confidence. It used to give us compassion. It used to, invoke a feeling of care for the nature, for the society. We cared for each other. And suddenly, so that kind of education system comes, and that is meditation. Just 20 minutes of a little breathing and meditation. If I give you my example, I don't mind confessing this in front of everybody who's watching. I've had a very tough childhood. I was 1 year when I lost my mother. My father was 27. He remarried. He never looked back till the day he died. And I was like tossed like a football. So I had a very insecure childhood. But when this knowledge came to me, and when I came to Art of Living, I learned, the art of living, actually, like incorporating a little bit of meditation practices, the service for the community. I saw my life changed, and today a person who was so harrowed is healing others.
You left corporate life.
Yeah.
Most of us find it difficult to get off that treadmill.
Yeah, ma'am.
You've had tragedies which you've had to cope with.
Yeah.
First, was corporate life and being on that treadmill one way to cope with the tragedy? And then when you moved away from that corporate life, was this another way to cope with that pressures?
Ma'am, you won't believe, my entire life just opened up on its own. I had nothing, because I did not even have the wisdom to decide what I need to do in my life. I think there was something that was guiding me. I studied, of course, so I got through the bank, and I was doing a very good job. I was earning. So the corporate life, and luckily, my bank people used to say, Paulomi, what do you do? How do you smile all the time? And I was right in front desk customer service, and I used to be bombarded, like how the banks use it. But and it was coming naturally, because by then I had already practiced this. But there came a calling when I realized that there was something more that I wanted to do than just earn money. So I did not do this as a mechanism to cope. Now I left nothing. It was just happening to me.
An organic process.
In an organic process.
I want to ask you that question again. Does one need a guru or a trainer to guide you to reach the stage where you're able to de-stress?
Exactly. Ma'am, just a simple example. We have a car. We buy a car. 10 lakh, 20 lakh की गाड़ी खरीदते हैं. You need somebody to help you to drive, to tell you this is the clutch, this is the accelerator, this is the engine, this is the fuel tank, this is what you, somebody to guide you, right? And then once you get the guidance, then you get into an auto mode after practice. So life is such a precious thing. We were not born with a manual.
I'm seeing that Dr. Arvinder Kaur is already consuming all this as a sponge and is going to come as a play soon. Right? Right? Okay, I'm going to, for final comment, I'm going to ask Professor Sarabjot Ji. Thousands of students pass out from, to graduate from your college every year. Would you think that, that this kind of alternative healing or this kind of de-stressing is something that students should be imparted, this kind of training should be imparted, so that when they go out into corporate life, into business life, when they seek out, and all of us do that, right? All of us get onto this rat race. All of us are competing. I mean, I'm sure even in academics you're competing. Many times people tell me, "Bas ho gaya na," and I am competing with kids who are just getting into the profession, and I have to have the same level of energy. And like she said, I feel रेस्ट करने से वो आगे बढ़ जाएगी और मैं पीछे रह जाऊंगी because age is against me. और जब मैं उस लेवल पे थी, I used to think इनके पास तो experience है, तो I have to work harder to come आगे. Right? So what would you say that is it necessary for us to take time out even as students to get आगे?
Certainly, I feel that you know, because giving knowledge is the primary function of a university or an institution. But then this knowledge devoid of a value system is not good, as she just mentioned. And again, I think universities or schools and colleges are not merely to teach you from books or your note things. They're preparing you for life. So they're preparing for you for a way of life. So it is not only a compartmentalized function that an institution should do. There should be this kind of training also, which helps them develop their value system in the right way, with whatever means, you know. It could be art of living, it could be, you know, their own religion from where they are coming, it could be any kind of philosophy, but that value system is very important. And I think now again, I will refer back to that, this new combination. I'll give you example of my son, who is doing cognitive sciences, and you know, he's studying computers, and it is to do with artificial intelligence only, computers along with philosophy. So I think this combination we need to acknowledge right at the school level, where this humanities and science, because आजकल तो बड़ा clear division क्या ये science student है, humanities वाले के तो मेरा बेटा बड़ा था जब उसने non-medical छोड़ा, वो आर्ट्स लिया, तो मेरे घर तो अफसोस करने आ गए लोग कि ओ जी बहुत बड़ा, कोई गल नहीं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, ठीक हो जाएगा. सो ये जो एक अप्रोच है, आई थिंक आई विल अपील टू द पेरेंट्स दैट ह्यूमैनिटीज, द सब्जेक्ट्स व्हिच डील विद वैल्यू एडिशन आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, along with whatever you're preparing them for a job market, or that's okay, you need to do that also. It is a competitive world, we cannot deny this. Everybody cannot, you know, be like Paulomi to leave the corporate life, and you have to earn your livelihood also. But at the same time, I think we have really ignored the subjects which add value to our lives, which is sociology, social sciences, psychology, philosophy, very important. So part of curriculum also, and as you said, that this is an important addition that should be made. मैं दो लाइनें कहूँगा कि वो हमारी, मैंने जैसे पहले कहा था कि वी हैव फेल्ड आवर यूथ, तो बच्चा जैसे इन्होंने कहा है कि इट इज़ फुल ऑफ पोटेंशियल. हमारे पास जितने भी लोग, हम कहते हैं इसको आता कुछ नहीं है, नालायक है, वो हमारा ही प्रोडक्ट है, पेरेंट्स का, टीचर्स का, सोसाइटी का. वो बच्चा जब इस ज़मीन पे आता है, या जब भी जैसे ये बता रहे थे, उसमें पूरा पोटेंशियल होता है. वी किल दैट पोटेंशियल स्लोली एंड ग्रेजुअली. तो गालिब का एक बहुत अच्छा शेर है जी, वो हम पे आयत होती है रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि सब कहाँ कुछ लालाओ गुल में नुमाया हो गई, खाक में क्या सूरतें होंगी कि पिन्हा हो. तो हम दबा देते हैं उनको। तो वो तो जो वो लाला गुल हैं, वो अगर आप उनको थोड़ा पानी देंगे, उनको नर्चर करेंगे तो वो खिलेंगे ही ज़रूर, हम दबा देते हैं। तो आई थिंक वी नीड नाउ टू शिफ्ट आवर रोल कि सप्रेस करने की बजाय उनको हम ग्रूम करें। दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट।
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, sir, for giving us this opportunity to discuss all this. For viewers and listeners, I've been talking about Punjab a lot in this panel discussion and talking about the drug problem. But many of you are sitting outside Indian shores or outside Punjab. These are issues which you are facing as parents. I'm sure those who are listening to us in America, your children, you're worried about them because of the gun violence in your society. These are things which are relevant even to them. It's relevant even to you. It's not something which is Punjab specific, but because I'm shooting this in Punjab and the drug problem out here is something that parents, youth, educators, influencers, healers, everybody is grappling with, and here at least they're taking action. Many of you might be wondering how to do with it. Get grips on your situation, learn from this podcast and speak to the elders in your society, among your community, about how you can encourage your students, your children to get help. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste, Jai Hind. Click here to watch the previous episodes.